I see Fastpitch preseason talks are now heating up. And you know what that means. Softball is back, and I think this season is going to be very interesting this year.
The Hunter.sheppard podcast. Bringing you the lowdown on everything OK Preps since 2017. And now here's the man of the hour.
What is going on, my fellow viewers? Listening to another installment of the podcast. Man, I gotta work on my intro. Perhaps I should lean towards Tom Grossi on some intro pointers. But nevertheless, this week we are going to be discussing an outlook for the 2021 Fastpitch season. Now, we will be doing A and B and then Class 2A in this episode. I kind of need to gather some more information on 3A through 6A as we go, but in time we will get to it. So, we will start with Class B. So, from the looks of the boards, it's looking like Red Oak and Cyril are going to go back up to Class A. Meaning, as of right now, and from what everyone is saying, it is looking like Roth and then everyone else. But I wouldn't rule out Moss or Lukiba. I believe Moss brought everyone back. I know they brought back their shortstop, and I believe she is a Seminole State commit. So I think Moss will be an interesting team to watch. Lukiba, they lost like 2 All-Stagers, I think, but they bring a really solid group back. And I was very impressed with them when I seen them at State last year. So, I would say, Roth and Moss in that East Central area. I'd probably throw in Tupelo in there. Tupelo, I think, should have made the state tournament last year, but, and I'm sure I got some people from the Ada area that'll back me up on this. They kind of got screwed over in the rankings and the pairings, and if I remember, last year in a Fastpitch, they were at Roth for regionals, and they loaded that regional up. I think Roth, Lukiba, and Tupelo were all in that regional. Roth beats... Tupelo beats Roth once, and then I believe they beat Lukiba once. I got my words mixed up there. But we all make mistakes. So, I'm hearing the best West Side team will be Lukiba, followed by Hammond, and then Arnett. Now, Leedy might have lost a bunch. I just know every year, like, Leedy loses a bunch. We think everyone will count them out, but then they will be in the fold somehow. So I'm kind of putting Leedy on that outside looking in and that dark horse tier, because with Leedy, you never really know what they're going to have every year. Like, they could be I think they lost like 6 seniors, I think, but can never really seem to count them out. Now, on the boards, Red Oak supposedly will go up to A, but someone on here says they think they will somehow stay down, which they always seem to stay in Class B, but I think they're going up to A this time. I heard Red Oak did get a move-in from Tallahena, but I don't know how long she has to sit out for. I have heard she's got to sit out for transfer rules, but for how long, I don't know. back on topic, though. We'll get to that in my Class A segment. But I think, as far as the favorites go, right now it's Roth and probably Lukiba, Moss. Then you got Hammond. Definitely can't rule out Whitesboro. Get to that in a minute. Pittsburgh might be the interesting one to see how they're going to look because their pitcher moved. Where she moved to, I have no clue, but I think somebody was thinking they was going to take a step back, but it might be interesting to see how their team unfolds. So I would keep an eye on that for sure. I don't remember a name, but I'm sure one of my McAllister area guys could probably tell me a name. I'm having to scroll down here because some of my notes was like all mixed up with everyone else's, but the cutoff line I think is going to also be interesting to see. Like, you got to take, and I've said this on the board several times, you have to take co-ops in effect. Well, like the obvious ones, Fargo Gauge and Fort Supply, both of those teams are supposed to be Class B, but, well, they're Class A. And then, like, Texoma is supposed to be Class A, but since they're co-opted with Goodwill, they're in 2A. Weber's Falls, I think, will be another interesting team to watch in B. Now, I had originally heard they had 2 players that was not going to play. Those rumors are since false. Last time, I believe, something from someone who has no credibility. And it was somebody from Weber that said it, but it obviously wasn't true. But that's besides the point. My thing with the Lady Warriors is their pitching depth. They got a solid one in Brooke Wyatt, but I don't know if they have any other pitchers other than her. And in this day and age in fast pitch, pitching depth is key. But they do have a good group of seniors. And I know they got one girl that can absolutely crush it in Kennedy Patterson. I know I lost track of how many times between her, Lexi Rasky, Morgan Carter, and Samantha Shanks all hit it to the wall. And I'll have a chance to see them too because that conference they're in, I do cover that conference closely. Well, and I run Poor Panthers TV too, so yeah, you get the point. So, and then going back to Roth, they're the team to beat. But here's something interesting that someone pointed out on the boards. Someone said that their pitcher tore something in her knee, but finished out the end of slow pitch last year. So that might be something to look at for sure. Like, I'm told they got another good pitcher, but the way people are talking on the boards, it sounds like they are going to have that number one pitcher. But I do still think they'll probably be in the favorites conversation. But if their number one is out for an extended period of time because of that injury she had from slow pitch, that, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. But yeah, I know, like I said, with the other teams, I know Pittsburgh, they lost their pitcher to moving. Weber will be really good, but like I said, not a lot of pitching depth. I think one team nobody is talking about right now that'll be really, really good is Whitesboro. yes, I know you're going to say, oh, they lost Hope Bailey and they lost Hannah Abeda. You bring back Kingley Barron, you bring back Mercedes Mortensen, and you get the two Wright sisters from Clayton, which I kind of seen a little bit on Clayton, and those two girls can play. So I think Whitesboro might be the one dark horse contender that no one is talking about right now, and I'm sure Big Dog 23 would agree with me. Like I said, but yeah, it's I definitely think Whitesboro is one of the many dark horse teams that no one is talking about. And yet, here I see people on the boards being all like, oh, they're going to have to prove themselves even more in Fastpitch. Just stop. You guys literally doubt Whitesboro every year, and they prove you wrong every year. Like, remember during Slow Pitch last year, when y'all was saying they had to prove themselves, and look where they got. They got to the state finals. So yeah, might want to watch and observe and whatnot before you do your talking, saying they got a lot to prove. The addition of the Wright sisters from Clayton, I think, is really going to help them. And like I said, you bring back two key pieces already in Kingley Barron and Mercedes Mortensen. And I know they got another really good hitter in Lingley Collins. Can't really quite remember the names of everyone else, but I know they're going to be solid this year, and they are my dark horse pick to win the title. But I know Class B is going to be interesting as a whole this year, because I know some people are saying Class B is going to be way down with Red Oak and Cyril going up to A, and I know, and so on from there, but whatever, this is why we play the game. Anyone can be beaten any given day. Any coach will tell you that, even the Hall of Fame head coaches. Sorry if I went quiet there. I'm just kind of going back through my notes. But getting back to Roth, Lukiba, and Moss, and I agree with Astros 11 on the boards on this. Those three teams they lost less than most other teams. I know, well, he says Hammond was mainly juniors, and I think they was. I still have my state tournament program from Slow Pitch, but I am not near it right now. But I do think he's right about Hammond being all juniors. Well, actually, I know they had an all-stater, because it's Slow Pitch all-state, and I think Fast Pitch all-state. There was a girl from Hammond playing in that. But, like I said, Roth appears to be the favorite, but as far as I see, I think Class B is wide open for the taking this year. Because, like I said, Red Oak and Cyril going up to Class A, I believe, really opened up the frontier for the title chase. Which I even said it this year that I thought Class B will be anyone's for the taking. But as far, like I said, Roth is still the overwhelming favorite, but their pitcher is a huge question mark according to everyone I've talked to right now. Actually, Cyril was borderline A, but everyone all my Caddo County guys I talked to thinks they will definitely be A, and I throw Pepper Brown on the boards is thinking the same thing as well. Now, one team I keep hearing a lot about, and that would be Buffalo Valley. I know the last few years I really hadn't heard much on them, but they supposedly got a couple move-ins. I know they got Courtney Gray, who was at Clayton, who used to play at Whitesboro. I think that move was bound to happen because I believe her dad was the boys' basketball coach at Buffalo Valley, so that move was bound to happen. And like I said, I think, haven't heard much on them, but when has Big Dog 23 ever been wrong? I know, he's been right on the money with everything he's told me. And hold up, I'm trying to scroll back to where I was at on here. But yeah, I know, I think they might be an interesting one to watch, but I will say this. You know a team makes a big jump when they go from 1-13 the previous year to, say, maybe 20, 25 win season and possibly in the top 5, top 10. Now that's a big jump. And I've seen it happen before, not just in A and B, but even when they did, but I've seen it in 2A through 6A as well. But, okay, at first I thought them kind of 7 or 8 seemed a little bit high. Well, that was before I kind of did my research on them and going off what was told from some of my guys down in that region. I know a few other thoughts I said other than that. I know I was also saying Weber is probably going to be a wait-and-see team. I mean, they'll be solid, but I said it once, I'll say it again. Pitching depth. I don't know what other pitching they have outside of Brooke Wyatt, but other than that, they will be a tough out for anyone in the playoffs. And then I was saying I would be shocked if Red Oak stays in B, but all signs point to them going to Class A. Same with Cyril. I don't know what came up with Arnett possibly going up to Class A. Someone brought that up, but they was nowhere near the cutoff line for A. They was at like 51.73 on the ADM, and that's like right in the middle of the pack for Class B. Now, well, co-ops could change that, but only Arnett co-op I know of is for baseball with Fort Supply and Fargo Gauge. Oh yeah. Chloe Hale was the other move-in I was thinking of. She was the pitcher from Pittsburgh. I forgot she was the one that pitched there and then came to Buffalo Valley. Now, according to Big Dog 23, they did really good in the Red Oak Festival from what he was saying. I mean, like I said, I've kind of did more research on them just because they was a little bit of an unknown team to me before a few weeks ago, and I really kind of did my research on that one. And like I said, Big Dog 23 has never steered me wrong. He's always been right on the money on his predictions and guesses. I know, like, last year he was saying Red Oak was the best team in B, and I believe they won the whole thing in Fastpitch, if I remember right. So, at first, so they got good pitching, and they got their top 4 hitters will be really good. But now, a couple people says they think the defense is suspect, but I don't know because I haven't seen them play. Just kind of going off what I know from my people down in that area. But all I say is with them getting Courtney Gray from from Clayton, former Whitesboro player as well, and them getting Chloe Hale from Pittsburgh. They could possibly surprise some people. But we'll leave it at that right now, because I have not seen them play, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do from there and whatnot. I know, and as far as record goes, I don't pay attention to previous year's records. But you got coaches that do. I don't really dwell on records. I might look at them for reference, but other than that, I don't compare records, especially when you bring in a whole new coaching staff and you have new players and whatnot from there. But Big Dog did make a good point about this. A few years ago, Whitesboro was 3-17, and then fast forward to now, 7 straight trips to state in fast pitch and slow pitch. So that's why I say I don't think you can really base everything off record and whatnot, just because, well, like I said, I've seen this a lot. Teams go 3-17, 2-20, 0-19, and then the next year they take a big jump and go 20 or 25 win season and usually make it to the state tournament. But Buffalo Valley, I think they could possibly be the surprise team that no one is really talking about, and they could possibly be playing at Hall of Fame Stadium in the postseason, which I could very well see that. And as I said, but as far as a preseason top 15 goes, outside of about the first 10, I really can't predict much of anything right now. Now, one guy on the boards, I know Leedy did lose a lot, but he says they'll have quality replacements, always do. It's Leedy. Which that was getting back to what I said earlier. That's why I say you can't really count them out, because they may be down, but they're not out. If you get what I mean there. But I do agree, there's going to be a few surprises that pop in there and about midway through the season, but not much of anyone else to put up right now outside of a few different teams. But I know I haven't really tried to take a guess out of Class B outside of maybe the first 10. But I know Whitesboro, Buffalo Valley, and Pittsburgh, and Kiowa, I know we're all in the McAllister Summer League. I know Kiowa will be down this year, but they're another team I can't count out just because I know Keith Quaid is a proven winner. He's been there, done that, and while you can't replace Kai Stone and Brayson Hackler that easily, they still got a few pieces returning that will be really good. I know they bring Chloe Crawley back, and she's an all-state caliber player. And they bring a few others back, so Kiowa might be another surprise team that no one's really talking about right now, but they're in the same state as Leedy, down but not out. We will leave it at that, but you guys get what I mean. Down, but not out. But I know some of these teams I'm going to have to I'm going to have a few regular season games just to evaluate them. And then maybe we'll revisit this episode. But basically, I know one guy on here says the pitcher Kiowa has is pretty good, and I believe it was their number 3. That's interesting. That'll be something interesting to watch. But Buffalo Valley, I think, like getting back to them, I think they are going to legitimate be a dark horse that no one's talking about. Same deal with Whitesboro. So, and then Duckman 3325, he goes on to say that Buffalo Valley has one of the two best pitchers in the state. I don't know which one he's referring to, but he's talking about one of them. And then he said the other lefty was from Roth. And then he says that the role players keep developing, he thinks they're top 5. Now, if the lefty from Roth is the one that's coming off the leg injury, it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds, just because it's just knee injuries affect people in different ways. I've seen, as many years as I've been covering high school sports, I've seen it a lot. But I know it's still a little early to predict a few, like, who the state contenders are, but I think a few have already made their predictions. Of course, that's why I said I have to have a little bit of time to evaluate and determine the teams and whatnot. And so, Big Dog, like I said, thinks they're worthy of a top 10 consideration. I'm sure all the coaches will consider it as well. He also believes Stewart will drop to Class B, but I don't really see it, because they was nowhere near the cutoff last year, so I don't see them going down to Class B. Too far away from the cutoff. So, and then after that, let's just say there was a little bit of a mini debate on the boards over classification, but classification numbers are a total crapshoot. I don't care who you are, I don't care who says it, it's all a crapshoot because it's so unpredictable. And many coaches will agree with me on this. But I know the cutoff is usually always around 88 or 89. Well, with the new classification like it is, used to the cutoff would be around like 81 or 82. But that was back before they changed the classification to where A and B was like really widespread. Like last year, the cutoff was 89.43. And then the cutoff between A and 2A was like 157, because Liberty was 157, and they was the largest team in Class A. And then you gotta take co-ops into fact. But yeah, that's gonna usually about summing up Class B. But I know Whitesboro and Buffalo Valley are the two dark horses that no one's talking about. Whitesboro's a definite sleeper. I know that for a fact, because... And like I said, people do this every year. They treat Whitesboro like there's some type of sleeper that's got to prove themselves, and then they prove all the doubters wrong. You'll see. You guys will all see. And, I'm sure my LaFleur County guys will back me up on this. But, for the meantime, let's get to Class A. Now, Class A, I am going to be honest, Class A is going to be a literal battleground this year. While Ripley and Binger appear to be the two favorites, Red Oak and Cyril coming up to Class A, I think really shook everything up. But right now, as far as like a lot of the teams go, Ripley, of course, you know, they lost a couple good ones, but with them being such a big school in Class A, depth will really help them, and they are pretty well coached. And then Binger, same situation, lost a couple good ones, but historically, we know how good a program they have. And all my Caddo County guys can back me up on this. But that's what I say. Ripley and Binger, they are simply just two teams that reload. And it's the facts. Caddo, I think, will be an interesting one to watch. I know they have a really good junior high team coming up, both fast pitch and slow pitch, and their shortstop, who's a lefty, they bring her back, and I seen them play in the state tournament last year, and that girl's good. She's going to be a player to watch for sure. So, of course, Caddo will be in the mix. Red Oak, like I said, they'll be Class A. I heard they got a couple move-ins from Tallahena. I don't know how long they're going to have to sit out, but it's just something I heard from someone down that way that one of their move-ins, one of those girls has to sit out for the season, but I've seen stranger things happen with these transfers and hardships and whatnot. I wonder who their pitcher will be this year. I haven't really seen them this summer. I know they graduated Casey Bell, but it'll be interesting to see. But if there's one thing Red Oak has been known for, it's been their pitching. Not just baseball, but softball too. I know I've seen Red Oak quite a few times over the past few years, even though they've been Class B. I've covered Class B just about as much as I've covered Class A. And Cyril, like I said, another team I think is guaranteed to probably be in Class A. Hold up, I can't remember. I'm trying to scroll back and see if I can find what one of my Caddo County guys said about Cyril. It's on the Class B page, so I had to tab back out and go back in. Okay. Okay, so their senior class last year was small, and they was on the border between A and B, but it looks like they will be in A. They did lose a few. I know they lost one of their pitchers, but they return another good one and a lot of different utility players that can just play just about anywhere, solid hitters. And he says they got a really good freshman group coming in, so that's why. And the talent's there. I mean, if you've ever seen Cyril play, you know the talent is there, so that's why I say they are going to be a team to watch for sure. Now getting back, Starling I know loses two big hitters, but they started a bunch of young ones, so anytime you hear that, starting a bunch of young ones, that's how you know they are going to definitely be a serious contender. Because years past, I've seen teams like that start a bunch of young players. Oh yeah, by the next season, they would be in most of the time they'd be in the title conversation. Moreland was in the same situation. They lost a big stick, as Pepper Brown was referring to them as, but I forget that's what everyone refers to their best hitters. But they was also young too, if I remember right. Shattuck, I know, was young as well. They lost a great leadoff hitter. I know they bring Jenna Bay back, which went 100%. She is probably one of the best players you will ever see. And then Canute, while they lose 2 starters, they bring back a really good pitcher and according to Pepper Brown, the best athlete in Class A. Also really young last year. Stewart and Tushka. Okay, Stewart, I really don't know much on. Well, they could be Class A, but there's a couple that think they'll be in Class B, so we're going to have to wait and see on them. Tushka, I think Tushka probably reloads like they always do. Tushka's all, like, with Tushka, you know the tradition is there. And then Hydro will be another interesting one to watch. They'll be really fast and athletic. They don't have good pitching depth, but they know how to put the pressure on teams. So that's why Class A is going to be an absolute gauntlet this year. So I know. But yes, and then supposedly I know Shattuck brings a big group of freshmen in, and like I said with some of those Class B teams, anytime you bring a really good group of freshmen in, that just adds to the depth and increases the title chances. And like I said it once, I'll say it again, Class A is going to be stacked this year. But number 1, I think, is going to be debatable. Some people think it should be Binger. Some people think it should be Ripley. It's going to depend right now, because I know you got 2 powerhouse teams right there that are battling it out for that number 1 spot. And then I know something else that changes the landscape. I know Morrison, Gore, and Fairling were 3 contenders from last year that bounced up to Class 2A. But getting back to what I said on Stewart possibly dropping the B, and someone brought this up on the Class A board. They was saying that Stewart would have to lose a lot of students to drop to B, and they wasn't close to cutoff line last year, but anything is possible. See, that's exactly what I said. They was nowhere near the cutoff line, so you have to really take that cutoff line into fact. Like I said, I don't know what it'll be this year, but last year it was sitting right at about 89.43. And like I said, classification numbers are a complete crapshoot, and all it's really going to do on the OK Preps boards is start arguments and debates. It's like, I don't know, it's like whenever those debates on the boards start up, it's like pretty much think of people calling into a radio show. I should know this because I have called into a radio show before. It's off topic, but I'm sure most people remember when I called into the Sports Animal the week of the OU Iowa State game. I'm sure everyone remembers that. But back on topic, it's kind of hard for me to name a title favorite in Class A right now because it's just so freaking stacked, man. It's like, that's what I said. This is going to be one of the best Fastpitch seasons in the last few years, for sure. Because it is just absolutely loaded. Plus, can't rule out an upset either. I know I'll probably revisit this episode in a few weeks once I have a little bit more information on a few other teams and possible dark horse contenders. Be interesting to see how everything plays out. And we will go from there. Real quickly, I want to get into Class 2A a little bit. Now, 2A, of course, is going to use the district system. But I think 2A is going to be interesting. And it is also kind of a battleground. Now, some of these districts I don't know much on like I do some of the others. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the rundown. Like, I can tell you right now, District 1, outside of Minko and Hobart, I really don't know much on that district, but I know Minko is always pretty good. Hobart and Mangum are always pretty good, but I haven't seen them play in Fastpitch in recent years. District 2. Obviously, I think Morrison's going to be the favorite. Other than that, I don't know much on the district. Like, I know Cashin is really young. Yeah, Crescent, Hennessy, Luther, haven't seen them play. And then, District 2's kind of unknown to me as well. District 3, I think gets interesting. Ampo appears to be the favorite, but you can't rule out Texoma Goodwell. Of course, I don't know what they have, but they always seem to be pretty good and competitive every year. I know Texoma's supposed to be Class A, but, well, they're 2A because of their co-op with Goodwell. Hinton might be another interesting team to watch in that district because I kind of seen a little bit on them when I seen them play Cashin last year. And while they looked young, they looked really good, and they had a couple good hitters and big sticks that could hit it. So they might be an interesting team in that district. District 4. District 4, I think, is Lada's to lose because I don't really know much on that district at all. And the thing with Lada has one of the best pitching groups in Class 2A. I know they bring back both Taryn Batterton and Trinity Kotani, and then they bring back a really good hitter in Jaylee Willis, so Lada will be a really interesting team to watch, and keep in mind, they are the defending Class 2A state champion. I know they lost a few seniors, but a lot of people are having them as the favorite to go back-to-back. But regardless, this is why we play the game. Man, softball is going to be so interesting to watch this year. So many intriguing matchups and outcomes that could happen. District 5. Here's where District 5 gets interesting. Silo is the favorite, but you got teams that are battling it out for second. Because you got Calera and Hartshorn in that district as well. And I believe Calero was pretty young, if I remember right. I don't know what Hartshorn brings back, but Hartshorn's always got some good pitchers and hitters. As for the rest of that district, I really don't know much on them. District 6. District 6, I think... Oh, this will get interesting because Pecola and Oaktahaw and Howe are all in that district. Howe, I think, returns most of their lineup. Oaktahaw, of course, that's a tradition. And Pecola, while they did lose quite a bit of seniors, I think Pecola is still going to be a team that is in heavy contention. So District 6, I think, is going to be wide open, but I know Pecola, I know they bring back quite a few good players. I know they bring Cale Chitwood and Micah Scott back. I believe Cale Chitwood was one of their pitchers as well. I know Kenna Chitwood, her sister, was a pitcher, but I always forgot that Cale was a pitcher as well. She's a junior, I believe. But I think that district's gonna come down between Oaktahaw, Howe, and Pecola. I'll probably have a chance to watch Howe and Pecola in the LaFleur County tournament, so keep that in mind. Well, Panama too, but I don't know what they bring back. District 7. District 7, all you need to know is Dale is going to be the favorite. But I'll still break it down anyway because I had to throw in a joke in there. We all gotta have a little humor. But in all reality, Dale is the favorite. And I know Dale lost a few seniors. Dale reloaded, from what I heard. And if there's one thing you don't do, it is count out a Dale Lady Pirates team. But now here's an interesting thing. I don't know if they'll have Carson Griggs back by any time in the season, because I was told she tore her ACL over the summer. I mean, I'm thinking she could be back, but it just depends. But regardless, Dale has a ton of good hitters and pitchers. Just like teams like Latta, Silo, Ampo, and so on from there. Lady Pirates will be an interesting one to see for sure. I'll actually have to try to go to one of their games because a lot of their district opponents are close by. Like Gore, Warner, Porter, those are all close by. Well, Preston's not that far away either. Same with Rejoice Christian. Well, and Mounds. Okay, now Stroud is kind of a drive. As far as the rest of District 7 goes, I think it could possibly be a battleground, honestly, but because I don't think Porter lost that much, but I also know Mounds was really young last year. Preston, I don't know what they bring back, but they've always got a good lineup and whatnot, so Preston will be an interesting one to see. Stroud's an interesting team to see, but Dale will win the district. The rest of that district outside of Dale is really tough to predict right now. That's my take. Now, District 8, I'm going to be honest, I really don't know much on this district. While I think Fairland is the favorite, I don't really know much on them. Fairland and Oklahoma Union likely battle it out for first, but man, I don't know much on that district. That's that's going to be a wait-and-see district for me. But as far as title favorites, I think you got your usual contenders, you know, Dale, Latta, Silo, Calera, Ampo. But you also got teams like Pecola, Howe, and Oktaha. You can't rule those three out. Can't rule out Hartshorn either, but man, this is what I say. This is going to be a really interesting season in 2A, A, and B. Like I said, just think of the matchups we could see, especially going into the postseason. Man, and I am looking forward to covering every bit of this season. But that's going to wrap it up for this episode. A little bit longer than what I'm used to recording, but I figured I'd go double length this time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.